Well, we found Tingana, but he's with a lioness. There's a lioness that's maybe about 20 meters from him. He's just seen her. She's calling, and she's looking around as well. Now, from where he is, if you look through the bush to above his head, basically, you might just make out her face through the thicket. She's busy walking now. She'll probably come out just to the left of that bush if she keeps going. You might just see her face through the thicket there. Now, I'm not sure if he's seen her. He's definitely heard her because she just called right now. And she's looking in this direction to see what's going on, because obviously we're parked with Tingana. And she's looking for the rest of the pride. I think that's the lioness with the blind eye from the Telemates, I think. She's directly behind that bush. Tingy, you need to move, my boy. Now. And slink off. You can see he's also carrying a bit of a wound on his front left leg. I think he's been tangling with warthogs or something like that. I can just see the lioness. She's actually moving away now. There she goes. She's just walking in the opposite direction, luckily for him. You might be able to hear her in the background. We were attracted to this area because of alarm calls. There's been impalas alarming everywhere because the pride is split all over the place, and he is also in amongst it. So we're following his tracks. We heard alarm calls, and I think she's obviously heard alarm calls too and thinks it's the rest of the pride, and that's why she's coming here and contact calling like that. She's going a low, soft call to try and make sure that she can kind of find where the rest are. It looks like she's moving off. I'm just trying to see. She's gone away now. She's moved off. By the looks of things. Which is good for you, Tingy. Lucky boy. No, you don't have to worry about a lioness chasing you this morning. I think his hair on the back of his neck must have stood up because he was just sitting down, very relaxed. And then there was this low contact call of a lion right behind him, and he just kind of went stiff and then turned around and looked. And luckily, like I say, she was far enough away that he didn't have to worry too much. But it was about 20 meters between the two. And luckily, there was a thicket between these two animals, because otherwise they definitely would have seen each other and he would have had to run. And there's not a lot of trees here for him to get up and out of the way of a lioness. All the trees that are around us are all quite small. So he's very lucky that she went the way that she did. But who have you been scrapping with, boy? You've got little wounds all over the place. I think he's been getting warthogged, or maybe a male impala got him when he was hunting those, but he's got a few little cuts by the looks of it on his side of his face as well. They're not claw wounds, they look more like just little kind of nicks from hunting. Otherwise, he looks fantastic. He looks like a young, fit fella, all things considered. So happy to see him. Peter, they do for the most part, but remember that a leopard is always trying to expand its territory. It's trying to get as much space, resources, and access to females as possible. And that means that the territory is constantly changing and evolving. What also happens is that there's competition. And so if you can maybe equate it to like us as people, let's say, if you live in a place and you expand your property as much as possible, and it gets bigger and bigger, and you have this beautiful, massive property, but then the area becomes desirable to others who have got capital to spend, and slowly they come in and they start pushing you, and they start wanting that land, and they start trying to take it over, and eventually you see a slow decrease in the size of the property again as the value goes up. And it's pretty much the same thing with these guys, as younger individuals come in, so they push, and the kind of shape and the size of the territory changes. His walk, Tingana's halted his, and is just sitting as regal and as beautiful as ever. He's so cool. I love this cat. He has been an absolute institution in this area over many years, not the last few years. He's been around here for so long, and it's epic to see him still in such good condition and moving around and just being, well, him. I love how unpanicked he was by that lioness. She's like calls right behind him, and he kind of went stiff, and he looked around his shoulder, and he was like, "Oh, lion!" But the experience was just to sit dead still and make sure his camouflage works in his favor. If he had run, it would have attracted attention, and maybe she would have chased him. So instead, he just sat there and watched, and if she had made a move where he felt like she was too close, you would have seen him go. But otherwise, he showed all his experience, and now you can see he's sniffing the air a lot. He's got his nose up, and there's something that's intrigued him. He's been looking in the trees. I don't know if maybe there's a smell that he's picked up. We know that of all the cats out here, he has a nose for a kill, and can pick it up more than anybody else. So maybe that's what he's sniffing around for, and looking to try and get. But his movement is quite slow and methodical this morning. He's not striding. You can see he's just going nice and gently, doing his little walk. And he is an an absolute tank still. Look, he's still sniffing the grass. What have you smelt, boy? He's picking up something. He changed direction as well. He was heading more east, and now he's just going straight south. Puppy, the first time I saw Tingana, I'm not sure the exact date, but it was, I think, October 2011, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere there. So, yeah, it'll be 10 years this year that I've seen this male leopard, which is, when I think about it, it's crazy because it doesn't feel like 10 years. It feels like it's a lot faster than that. But yeah, 10 years of watching him roam around. And actually the other day I was going through photographs and I went back to that first time that I saw him, and he looks so little and so young compared to what he does now. You're going to lie right there. Okay, I'm just going to position it slightly differently so that Morgan doesn't have this bush in the way. He looks so kind of young and little, and now obviously he's grown into this absolute tank, who has this legendary status because of the time that he's put in, the shift that he's put in as a dominant individual. I absolutely love the fact that we've had this journey of 10 years and that he's stayed dominant. It's one of the longest dominance reigns in an area that I can think of. There's not that many that have gotten as many years as a dominant leopard as him. So, he's up there with the very kind of best in terms of legend cats of this area. Kampan, Kashan, these guys would be other leopards that also held territory for long periods. But I think what the amazing part for me is that Tingana, regardless of what we had as his age, I mean, when we first saw him, we thought he was around 4 or 5 years old, somewhere there. So that would put him at 14, 15, which is crazy old for a male leopard. But the condition that he's in, and even his teeth and everything else, indicates that maybe he was a little bit younger than that when we first saw him, and just that he's an impressive leopard, and we slightly misaged him. He also does have a big dewlap, always has. Maybe that just contributed to our estimation of his age being slightly off. Maybe he was only, sort of 3.5, 3. I don't know. I went back and looked at the pics just to try and see if I was wrong. And even when I look at the photographs, to me now, he still looks in that age bracket, that 4 or 5 years old kind of size. But it's amazing that he's still going and is in as good a condition as he's in. He really is looking fit, healthy, and fantastically well in many respects. His coat looks good, his body condition looks good, he's got no skinning around the hips, and everything else looks as though he's in good nick. You can see he's grooming a little bit. He's got a bit of blood on him. I don't know if maybe he ate something last night, but while we sit and watch him groom a little bit, let's send you across